PONS.
Murder in the Fog.
Zbiór 16 opowiadań sensacyjnych w języku angielskim na poziomie od A1 do A2. Napisał
Dominic Butler.
Murder in the Fog. I do not remember my name. This is the first thing that I think when I wake, and I look around nervously, confused by the dark and by the thick fog which surrounds me. I raise a hand to my face and feel a short nose and a small mouth. I try to remember my face. I try to remember the colour of my hair or what my eyes look like. I try to remember anything, but I cannot. I have no idea who I am. I am on the ground, lying on cold grass which is wet from the fog. And I am alone. Why am I here? I ask myself. But I have no answer. I do not even know where this is, because the fog is so thick that I can only see for a few meters in any direction. I try to stand, but then I realize that my head hurts, and that there's a sharp pain behind my right ear. I carefully lift my hand and touch the large lump which is there. It hurts to touch, and I shout in the fog, the sound lost in the dark of the night. When I pull my fingers away, they are wet, and even with no light, the blood is bright and easy to see. I begin to feel more than nervous now. I begin to feel scared. I imagine I can see shapes and figures in the fog, and I want to run. I feel that I need to run, that there is somewhere I must be, somewhere I must remember. But before I move, I need to know something. So I push myself up and sit on the ground. I look carefully at my clothes, but they mean nothing. The jeans are new, but now they're dirty. Muddy stains cover the legs from the wet grass. The T-shirt is not familiar either, just simple and black. So I empty my pockets, and at first there is nothing helpful there. No wallet, no keys, and no phone. But then I see the picture, and I stop. It's a woman, and even in the dark and the fog, I recognize her. Her long blonde hair is beautiful, and her kind, friendly blue eyes are perfect. Yes, I know her. And the thought is so strong that I smile, despite the pain in the back of my head. But what's her name? I pull the last item from my pocket. It's a red serviette with a single word written again and again in black ink. Catherine, I say quietly into the fog, and the sound of my voice seems strange and cold. Catherine. I am sure that I know her, but I still do not remember why. Is she my wife? My girlfriend? I think that she is, and I suddenly feel afraid for her. Catherine! I shout into the dark, but there is no reply. I'm about to shout again when suddenly I remember something. I remember Catherine's face, but she's not smiling like she is in the picture, and her blue eyes look scared and desperate. I try to remember the image, and I see that there's a piece of cloth in her mouth, so that she cannot speak, and that she's tied to a large grey stone by thick white ropes. No! I cry out, and I push myself to my feet despite the pain in my head. I do not know what to do for a moment. I only know that I must find her, that I must help her. I think about the lump on the back of my head and the fresh blood on my fingers. Is there somebody in the fog? Somebody who has Catherine. Someone who wants to hurt her, who wants to kill her. I want to shout again, but then I do not. If the person who has Catherine hears me, she is in danger. And another image comes to me. It's the face of a man. An ordinary face, with small dark eyes and dirty brown hair. There's nothing cruel about the face, but I know instantly that this is the man that has Catherine, and I hate that face with all of my heart. I begin to walk, slowly at first, unsure of the direction that I must go. It seems like the ground is moving slowly up, and I believe that this is right. The image I remember of Catherine tied to the grey stone is in less fog, and I think that it must be on higher ground. I begin to walk faster, but I'm soon running. The fog surrounds me, and the dark is without end. I try not to think of anything but the direction I'm moving in, but I'm starting to remember things now. I remember Catherine. She has a black uniform, which she always wears at work in the restaurant, and on the uniform is a badge with her name. "Hello, handsome," she always says to me. "Another day at the office," and I never say much, but I do not have to. We understand each other without words. And I remember that after I eat, I wait for her in the car park until she finishes work, and she's surprised to see me there. But I suppose that's just who I am. A romantic. Suddenly, there's a sound like a gunshot, and I fall. For a moment I think that I'm dead and that Catherine is alone, tied to the grey stone in the fog. But then I see the light in the sky, and I realize that the shot was a flare. I watch the light fall and illuminate the hillside. Is it the man with the dark eyes and dirty brown hair? Does he know I'm here? Good. If he looks for me, he's not with Catherine, I think. And I get up again and run faster now. Do I hear voices in the fog behind me? I try to turn to look, but the fog behind me is too thick, and I only see the occasional light in the distance. But in front of me the fog seems to be thinner, and I begin to slow. I'm scared now, because I know that I'm near. And in the dark I begin to see large grey stones standing like giants on the top of the hill. In amazement, I think that I recognize this circle of ancient stones. "Stonehenge!" I say. "Yes," a voice replies. "And this is where it ends." And a tall man steps from behind one of the silent giants. I expect him to have dark eyes and dirty hair. But he does not. His hair is blonde, his eyes light, and I think that this is not the man who has Catherine. Maybe he's his friend, his partner. And I'm about to run when I see the small gun in his hand. "I just want Catherine," I say. But I can see the hate in the man's eyes, and I know that the only thing I can do now is run to the stone where I know she's tied, and try to escape into the fog with her. "Don't," says the man, as if he can see my intention in my eyes. But I have to. At first I think that maybe I'm quick enough. But then I hear the snap of the gun and feel the explosion in my back. For a moment more I run, and I can see the shape of the stone where Catherine is tied, and I fall to the floor in front of it. "Catherine!" I shout, but there is no reply. When I look to see why, I see that she is not there. The white ropes are still tied to the stone, but she is not. "Catherine," I say again, smiling, because she is all that matters, and I can rest now because I know that she is safe. "You got him, detective?" a voice says behind me. "Yeah, that's him," the tall man says. "He matches the girl's description perfectly. Dirty brown hair, small dark eyes, and look, the blood behind his ear is where she hit him before she escaped. Good for her. Yeah, we think she's his third victim this year. So why didn't he run? Why wait here for us?" The tall man is silent for a moment. "Who knows? I don't want to understand the mind of these psychopaths. I'm just happy Catherine is okay." Catherine is okay. Catherine is okay. I do not understand anything else that they say, but I do understand these 3 words, and I smile again. Catherine is okay. Rob from the Rich. The sun is high above Canary Wharf, high and hot, and looking down on the crowds of people which wait on both sides of the empty road. We are standing there, the 3 of us in front of the bank. We are standing there in front of the glass doors, and no one is looking at us. They are all focused on the road, and in the distance I can hear the music and the commentator, and I know that the race is starting soon. I look at our reflections. We all have the same white and orange uniforms, the same caps, the same silver sunglasses. I almost do not recognize the two men beside me, and I think that from a distance people cannot see that I am a woman. Okay, this is it. 10 minutes exactly. Remember your jobs, and remember no real names. I'm Robin, you're Little John, one of the men says to the other. And you're Marion, he says to me, the only woman, and he gives me a quick smile. Little John looks up. The camera is still in position. He can't see us enter or leave. I feel sweat running down my neck. Here he comes. Remember the music, Marion, Robin says. And then the guard is at the door, a short, fat man who looks at us, smiles, and then opens it without a single question. You're quick. The air conditioning only broke this morning. We know, Little John says. We broke it. And the guard's smile disappears. But it's too late. Robin pushes him back into the bank and John follows with the ladders on his shoulders. I can see Robin's gun appear in his hand, and then I'm inside too, and I pull the door shut. Music, Marion, Robin says. There is no stopping now, so I pull the small stereo from one of the black bags on my shoulder and I press play. Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 2 fills the marble stairs. We run up the stairs together, Robin with his gun at the guard's back. Then Little John stops to cover the first camera. He climbs up the ladder in a second and we run into the main room of the bank. It's a large room with oak tables, a dark marble counter and expensive leather sofas. Behind the counter there are two women. Out here, now! I shout at them. To my left I see the short fat man sit down on the floor with his hands on his head. Then Robin runs to the office and kicks open the door. The two women move, but slowly. One of them looks down at the counter, where I know there is a secret alarm. Not if you want to live, I shout. On the sofa! I pull two blindfolds from a bag and cover their eyes. Then I tie their hands, and I look at my watch. 7 minutes! I shout to Little John, and he covers the last camera with plastic. I take a deep breath. The music is so loud and the bank so hot. Can we do this? Can we really do this? Then Robin leaves the office and he has the manager, Mr. Charles M. Hastings. Hastings. I hate the name, and I hate the man. Tall, arrogant, dressed in his expensive suit and with a watch that costs more than most people make in a year. What is this? He says, and he looks nervous, but not nervous enough. What do you think? Robin asks, and he tells him to sit at one of the tables. Hastings looks around. You can't be serious. A bank robbery. And for a moment he looks surprised. But then he laughs. You idiots! This is an investment bank. There's no money here. Everything is done by transfer. And he looks at us all like we're children, with that arrogant expression on his face. Good Lord! You should leave now before the police get here, and maybe you can still escape. He laughs again. But I doubt it. Little John puts a blindfold on the guard. Only Hastings can see now. But we stand behind him. And for a few seconds there is only the sound of Beethoven as the music begins to reach its molto allegro. That's okay, Robin says, and he picks up one of the bags and puts it on the table. We brought our own money. £20,000 in small notes. Banks are difficult to rob, but houses aren't. Even big houses with alarms and safes. Like yours. What? Hastings says. And then he looks at the bag. My house? My money? You robbed my house? I can see sweat on Hastings' face now, but it's on mine too. I look at my watch. 4 minutes. But what do you want? You have my money. Robin laughs. We don't want it. Not that. We're not common thieves. And he throws the bag to Little John. Get it ready, he says. and little John takes the ladders back down the stairs to the glass doors. "Then what?" shouts Hastings. And this is my part. I take the laptop from the bag and put it in front of him and open it. "Do you know what this is?" He looks. "It's a bank account, a transfer. So?" he says arrogantly. "So we need you to enter your details and then transfer £240,000 to this account. Do it, and then we go." And he looks more than nervous now. He looks scared. "No, I can't. I don't have that sort of money. I can't. I put the newspaper down on the computer. "Really?" He looks at the newspaper for a moment but says nothing. "1 minute," says Little John. "Read it," Robin shouts. Hastings is silent, but Robin points the gun at him. "Read it," he shouts again. Okay. Bank manager receives £240,000 salary despite bank failure." He stops and tries to turn to look at us, but Robin pulls the trigger back on the gun. "You don't understand," Hastings shouts. "It's more complicated than that." "We understand that hundreds of local businesses are in serious trouble because of you and this bank," I say. "And you now have a decision to make because we have no time. Enter the details or—" I say, and I know that this is it. It has to be now. Beethoven fills the silence again, and I look at Robin and see that there's sweat on his face too, but Hastings does not move. "Then goodbye, Mr. Hastings," Robin says, and he moves the gun, but "No, please, look," and Hastings enters his details. I do not believe it, and I take the computer. "Well," Robin says, "it's done. It's gone. Direct. No one can trace it."